Hello and welcome to today's broadcast of Utah State Women's Hoops. Utah State set to take on the University of Denver, the Pioneers coming from Denver out of the Summit League. And we're down here at the Dee Glen Smith Spectrum where Utah State is set to play their first home game in nearly a month. It's been a long road stretch for the Aggies and it's been brutal. They've been on the road. The last home game was the 17th of November, so one day short of an entire month since the last home game here in Logan. And kind of a rough road stretch where they played 6 straight and lost 5 of the 6. The lone win coming over BYU, a huge win for the program. But coming off of a bad loss against Utah Valley just this past week. Aggies trying to bounce back from that, and it's going to be tough to do so. Denver is a really good team. They're 6-5 this season. I say that they're a really good team, and I guess what I should say is that they're a really overachieving team. They've done so much better than everyone thought they would. They last season 6-24, and so they've already matched last season's win total. They were picked to finish 7th of 8 teams in the Summit League, and they're already out to a winning record this season, 6-5. They've played a lot of road games. And so they got that experience, and they're coming to Utah State looking for another win. The Aggies, though, kind of an up-and-down season. It just depends on which team we're going to see today from Utah State. As I mentioned, the Aggies picked up a huge road win over BYU. It was the first win over BYU in 39 years. And then following that, they went and laid an egg in Utah County against Utah Valley University, a team that Utah State certainly feels like, and the coaching staff and the players certainly feel like they should be able to beat or at least hang with, and they just got blown out of the water, 61-43. So coming off of a really tough loss in that game, shooting was the biggest factor. Aggies shot just 4 of 27 from three-point land. That's 15%. They shot just 31% from the field total. They even won the rebound battle. They did well in other aspects of the game, but when you can't shoot, you're going to be in trouble. So that's kind of been a little bit of a common theme. The biggest question mark today, far and away for Utah State, is whether point guard and Mountain West reigning freshman of the year, Eliza West, will be playing. No word yet on whether she'll be in the starting lineup. She twisted her ankle during practice this week. It was a pretty severe sprain. And as of an hour ago, speaking with Coach Finkbeiner, and we'll hear an interview from him here in a minute where he'll talk about it. But as of just an hour ago, he still wasn't positive as to whether Eliza would be in the starting lineup or not. That's a huge factor in today's game. Eliza, one of the most important pieces to this team, averaging 5.1 points per game, 4.6 assists per game. She's one of only 3 players on the entire team with more than 1 assist per game. And this is a team that's already struggled with passing the ball. So we will see. Hopefully Eliza is able to play. She was out here warming up with the team, doing all the layup drills and shooting around. But you just never know if she'll be good to go. We're going to cut here in just a moment to an interview from Coach Finkbeiner, and he'll talk a little bit about that injury to Eliza and what they're going to try and do to replace her if she is unable to play. He'll talk about what they learned from the road trip and just how they're going to move forward following a really tough loss to Utah Valley. So without any further ado, here is Coach Finkbeiner. All right, Coach, first home game in nearly a month, 6-game road stretch. Is it good to be home?
Oh, yeah, it is. You know, I don't know if the average fan appreciates, home and away games and what it does to a team. I've always thought throughout my career that a home court is worth 7 points just right off. And if that be the case, then, our record would probably be a little bit different and life moves on that way. But that's just the way it is, and there's some good things learned by the road. And you're just really careful that the amount of road games we've played just doesn't do damage on us come January and February. But I think we're in good shape, and we've survived. And now it's good to be home, obviously.
So 6 games on the road. You saw all kinds of different opponents. You saw Pac-12. You saw some lower conference opponents. What did the team really learn from the road trip?
Well, I hope we've learned something that we haven't seen yet, but the problem with our road schedule we've played to the level of our opponents. We played good against the top-level teams, beat BYU comfortably, and then we lost to teams that we should probably never lose to, and we probably wouldn't lose to here at home. So it just, I think it's the youth of our team still hasn't really, we haven't matured to a point where we play at our level and make the other teams beat us. So I think we've lost 3 or 4 games to teams that, again, I think we win here. It's a tougher challenge on the road, but we're not good enough, not mature enough yet to play at our level and make teams beat us.
So continuing on that, so the team gets a big win over BYU, a lot of momentum going their way, and then really comes out flat against Utah Valley. Is that mostly a mental thing, or, I mean, what do you attribute that, and what was the biggest difference in those 2 games?
Well, it just probably a couple points. One is that's a great indicator of how we've been all semester, play the level of our opponents. Play well against BYU because they're a good team, and really slumped against UVU. Now, Utah Valley, what they did to us, similar to Idaho State, those 2 losses where they were physical with us and just really out-efforted us and got the loose balls and out-scrapped us. And the game wasn't pretty, and we lost. Obviously, it wasn't pretty. But, you know, those are some hurdles we're trying to jump over. Play at our level, play at the level that we feel comfortable at. I don't mean quality of that we're better than these other programs, but we don't have the consistency yet of predictability within our program of what are good shots and consistently blocking out. And I think consistency or lack thereof is our key word right now. And we're practicing well. Girls' chemistry is good. We feel good about ourselves today, but we're still that's a missing ingredient, just consistency in games played. And I tell you, Jaden, too, you know, one of the negative impacts of playing on the road, you can't string together quality practice times because you're traveling, or you're trying to save your legs coming back home, softer practices, then you travel, and it's kind of a vicious cycle. And we have had, even though this is finals week, we've had three and a half good practices lead up to today's game.
So how do you ensure that your team is consistent and make sure that you're going to get the team that played against BYU rather than the team that we saw against Utah Valley?
Well, it's a process. I don't think you can be sure that that's going to happen today. We need to build through and play through 3 or 4 games and have consistent play and have reward come from it. I think when you're 2-7, it's not that our confidence is shot, but we're probably questioning some things because of it, as opposed to if we were 6-3, 7-2, you know, there's a built-in confidence and consistency that's just part of the game plan. So we're still searching to a certain degree, but there's nothing better than winning.
So you mentioned that the team had a little bit of extra time to practice this week, a little bit of a longer week than usual with no games earlier on. This Denver team, they're really young, they're up and coming. They've already matched last season's win total. How do you prepare for a team like this, and what's been the real emphasis in practice this week?
Well, they know how to win already. They're 6-5. They have a winning record, so that's a hurdle that we haven't climbed to jump over yet. And so they have something going for them, you know, within their own program right now. And they've had similar road challenges that we've had. They've been all over America basically. So they're doing some things on the road that we didn't do. What's scary about them? They have a very similar team to Idaho State and, as I mentioned, UVU. Everybody can shoot it, and they're pretty physical, they're pretty scrappy. So, you know, the jury's out on how we're going to respond to that. We've had, like I say, 3 good practice days. Now, there's an asterisk by today's game that nobody knows yet. Eliza West severely sprained her ankle 2.5 days ago, and she is questionable at best today. And so if she plays, it'll be very limited minutes. And so that just steps up the challenge to Victoria Price, who redshirted last year, coming off an ACL, and also Emmy Harris, a freshman point guard / 2 guard. So we're gonna be searching not only, you know, for a win, but probably searching for that ball handler today to take us to that win. So there's an extra challenge on us today.
How do you, if she is unable to play, how do you make up for those 5 assists a game that you're getting from Eliza?
Yeah, you know, on the positive side, Victoria Price is a good point guard that hasn't proven herself yet because of a freshman year, redshirt year, ACL injury. And Emmy Harris is we're really happy with her progress, but she's a freshman, hadn't played more than maybe 8 minutes in one particular game. So it's going to be you know, the other kids that have a game experience. Olivia West is going to play some point guard. Rachel Brewster has to be a better passer today. Shannon Duffy has to be a better passer today. So, you know, those are a challenge we haven't faced yet this year with an injury to a starter, but that's just part of team play and part of the challenge of a game.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck today. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Jaden.
Thank you for tuning in today's broadcast of Utah State Women's Hoops. Utah State versus Denver coming up here in just a few minutes. Those of you tuning in on Aggie Radio and AggieRadio.com, we just heard an interview from Coach Jerry Finkbeiner talking about today's matchup with Denver and about the road trip that they're coming off of. Again, this is the first home game for Utah State in 1 day shy of a month. The last home game for Utah State was against Arizona here on the 17th of November, so 6 straight road games. Finally back home, home sweet home for Utah State. And Coach Finkbeiner in that interview mentioned that Eliza West, the team's starting point guard, and the Mountain West Freshman of the Year last season, is questionable today. She's been downgraded. She is out. Eliza will not be playing today for Utah State, and that's a huge, huge blow, I think, to this Utah State team. It will be interesting to see how they respond to that. They're gonna replace her with Victoria Price in the lineup, so should be interesting to see. The thing that I think where this really hurts Utah State is her passing ability. On this entire Utah State squad, you have 3 players who average more than 1 assist per game, and Eliza is one of those, averaging 4.6. This is a team that really struggles in passing the ball. They rank 264th out of 345 teams passing the ball, just 11.6 assists per game. And you take Eliza out of that and 4.6 assists out of that, it will be really tough for Utah State to replace the impact that she has. Not an enormous scoring threat, only 5.1 points per game and 2.3 rebounds. So she doesn't do a ton for Utah State as far as putting points on the board, but passing the ball is so crucial for this team, and we'll see how they come up with those and see if they're able to hang in here with this really good Denver team. Victoria Price is going to be making just her 8th career start. She's only played 6 of the 9 games this season. She missed the first 3 with an injury, and then she sat out all of last season due to injury and redshirt. So she made 7 starts her freshman year, which was 2 years ago. In those, she averaged 5.1 points per game, 1.9 rebounds per game that season. So she is a decent player and certainly, has a little bit of experience for Utah State and has made a few starts. But this season, she's only getting, the last 3 games, the last 4 games, she's played a total of 15 minutes. So she played 2 minutes, then 4 minutes, then 2 minutes, then 7 minutes in the last 4 games. So she's going to be taking on a much bigger workload tonight, and we'll see how she steps up to meet that challenge, only averaging 1.3 points per game, 1.3 rebounds per game so far, and 3 total assists this entire season. The only other 2 players who average more than 1 assist per game, and barely over 1 assist per game, is Olivia West and Rachel Brewster. And those are sitting up barely over 1 per game. So going to be a real challenge moving the ball for Utah State. For the University of Denver, this is a really good team. The last 4 seasons have been pretty dreadful. Haven't even gotten double-digit wins in either of the last 4 seasons. They're coming off last season 6 wins, the season before that 5, the season before that 8, and before that 9 win seasons. And this season they've already got 6. They're 6-5 overall. You heard if you heard that interview from Coach Finkbeiner, he said that they're a winning team. They've played a lot of road games and they've come out on top in the majority of them, which is very impressive for such a young team. I think a big part of that is replacing their head coach. New head coach Jim Turgeon. He's in his first season. He was 54-10 in his last 2 seasons coaching at Colorado State Pueblo. And he's had a huge impact already on a very young Denver squad that is going to certainly give Utah State a match. Looking at Denver and what they do, this is a team that scores about 67.5 points per game. So pretty high-scoring team. They allow 60.9. Comparing that to Utah State, they score about 62.4 and allow 71.8. And then Denver They passed the ball pretty well. I mean, at least better than what we've seen from Utah State. 13.8 assists per game. The big thing for University of Denver is they're a very high three-point shooting team, and Utah State has struggled when they've played against good three-point shooting teams so far this season. When you look at their three-point numbers, they have made 8.3 per game. That ranks 43rd in the nation, and they shoot at about 35.5%. So you can expect Utah State to be guarding the perimeters heavily to try and slow that down from the University of Denver. So we're about to have the starting lineups announced here. Denver is going to actually be changing things up a little bit. They've gone with the same starting lineup in 10 out of their 11 games so far, but they're going to make a little bit of a change today with adding Kerry Weinman into the starting lineup. So as they announce those, we'll go over them. They're going to start with number 2, the sophomore guard out of Carson, California, Brianna Johnson. Number 12, the freshman guard from Arlington Heights, Illinois, Claire Gritt. Number 15, the freshman guard from Glenview, Illinois, Kerry Weinman. Number 23, the senior forward from Dover, Minnesota, Madison Nilsson. And number 45, the senior forward from North Oaks, Minnesota, Jordan Alt. So Kerry Weinman, a freshman, she's going to be making her first career start. She's come off the bench in every game so far, but done a really nice job in the time that she's been given. She's going to replace Samantha Romanowski in the lineup. Not sure if Romanowski is out of the game or if she is just going to come off the bench. We'll see about that. But Weinman, she is averaging 9.1 points per game, so second on the team in scoring despite coming off the bench in every game and only playing 14.1 minutes per game. That's pretty ridiculous. You're only playing 14.1 minutes per game and averaging 9.1 points per game. 2.4 rebounds, 54% three-point shooter this season. So a really solid young player, and that's 2 freshmen in the lineup for Denver. Looking at Utah State's lineup, Olivia West going to be the starting point guard today. She is a sophomore guard from Australia. Joining her in the starting lineup, Shannon Dovesey, sophomore forward, also out of Australia. Victoria Price making her first start of the season, first start in 2 years as she redshirted last season. She's a sophomore guard from Grand Prairie, Texas. Rachel Brewster, the junior guard from Australia. And Deja Mason, junior center from San Antonio, Texas. So a couple of lineup changes, really, because Deja Mason has come off the bench in the last 3 games. She's played really well off the bench, and so they're going to put her back in the starting lineup in place of Haley Bassett. Haley Bassett has made the last 3 starts, done pretty well with those starts. I don't think it's a matter of Bassett losing her spot as much as it is Deja Mason gaining her spot, and coach likes to adjust to the teams that they're playing with their lineup. Denver, a little bit of a bigger team, might require a little bit more defense. The big question for Utah State is how they're going to get points on the board offensively with so few players with the ability to pass well. So just about to tip off. Denver 6-5 this season. They're coming off of a East Coast road trip where they went to Baltimore and beat UMBC, and then lost in Washington, D.C. to American, 66-53. Aggies win the tip, and we are underway. Brewster has it, takes it up to the top of the arc, and puts one up quick. Doesn't go, but the offensive board grabbed by Duffesey, who puts it right back up, and Utah State starts out strong, 2-0. Big offensive board there for Duffesey. Pioneers coming back. Jeffcoat has it, Gritt passes it out to Johnson. Left corner, 3 goes up from Alt, doesn't go. Rebound picked up by Deja Mason. Deja Mason averaging 5.3 rebounds per game, second on the team. Olivia has it, works off a screen, gets up to the free throw line, shoots in and out, doesn't fall. Rebound picked up from Jordan Alt. Denver trying to get their first points on the board. Alt passes it over to the left, finds Gritt. Gritt works off the screen, working towards the hoop. Steps back out on the baseline. Passes it up top for Weinman. Weinman working against Olivia. Weinman working off the screen, goes up to the right, and gets it to go on the finger roll. Denver on the board, and we got a tie game, 2 apiece. Victoria Price making her first start of the season in a point guard right now. Works off a screen, passes it over to Duffy. Duffy dumps it in for Brewster. Beautiful pass. Brewster just couldn't get the easy lay-in to fall on the back door. Rebound grab by Johnson. Bringing it back. Passes over. Left corner three. Goes up, in and out. Won't fall from Claire Gritt, and Olivia West with the rebound. She's going to try and take it all the way. Working against two defenders. She's fouled in the lane. She's going to get a couple of shots. Utah State's leading scorer this season, Olivia West, 15.8 points per game, and she's going to have a chance to get her first couple of the night right now. So Olivia West going to be very instrumental in today's game without Eliza West in the lineup. She knocks down the first free throw to go up 3-2. A big key is Olivia West has had 4 or more fouls in 6 of the 9 games they've played. And so really important for her to stay out of foul trouble today. She knocks down the second, but they're going to need big-time minutes from Olivia if they want to have a chance in this one. Denver brings it across now, trailing 4-2. Weinman has it up top, working into the lane. Stops at the elbow, passes it back out. Johnson, right wing, crosses over. Price kicks it out right. Thought about the three from Weinman, said she steps in and knocks it down from 15. Denver ties it up at 4, 7:53 into the first quarter. Price gets the screen from Duffy up high. Goes to pass it over, and foul called off the ball. It's going to be on Denver, on Jordan Alt. The senior forward picks up her first. Second team foul for Denver. The Aggies will have the baseline throw in. It's going to be Olivia West passing it. Olivia passes it right into Deja on the baseline, who puts it straight up, and she gets fouled for a couple of shots. That's also Jordan Alt, so within just a matter of seconds, Jordan Alt picks up foul number 1 and 2. And look, I imagine she's going to check out right away, it looks like. So Deja will have a couple of shots. Deja averaging 4.9 points per game. First free throw is good. She was a 50% free throw shooter. Knocks down the first. Alt does check out, and in for her comes Jala Osborne. Osborne, the transfer from Army. Mason has one more shot. High shot doesn't go. Hits the rim and bounces off. Rebound picked up by Nilsson. Denver trying to come back quick. And Osborne works into the lane. Welcome into the game, Jala Osborne. She's stuffed by Deja Mason. Deja Mason adds to her team-leading total. In transition, Victoria Price tries to get it at the rim. Won't fall, and Denver with the rebound. Brianna Johnson bringing it back. Passes it up top for Osborne. Osborne back out to Romanowski. Romanowski driving. Gets into the lane. Good defense by Shannon Duffy. Thinks she might have gotten a hand on the shot, and Aggies come down with the board. Brewster resets things out, gives it back out to Price. Price screen set by Mason. Goes over to Duffy. Duffy tries to dump it in for Mason, who goes up, and Deja Mason gets it. Good start for Deja Mason. Worked her way back into the starting lineup this week after missing the last 3. Well, coming off the bench in the last 3, I should say. And making an immediate impact. Up top, Romanowski passes it up to Weinman, and foul called. I believe this is going to go on Victoria Price. It does, off the ball, foul. So Victoria Price picks up her first, and that's just the first team foul for Utah State as well. Jesse Gear going to check in, as does Emmy Harris, in for Victoria Price and Rachel Brewster. So new faces out there for Utah State. Emmy Harris now at point guard. She's playing up top, working against Brianna Johnson. Johnson passes it over, gets it to Nilsson. Nilsson hands it back to Weinman. Weinman working towards the hoop, gets a shot over the fingers of Duffy and in. Denver brings it within 1, 7-6 with 6:18 to play. Olivia brings it across midcourt. Olivia gets the screen set from Deja Mason, gets the elbow and shoots, doesn't go, but offensive board by Duffy, who puts it right back up on the left side and extends that Utah State lead back up to 3, 9-6. Denver ball. Romanowski has it. Romanowski, her first time coming off the bench this season. She started every game so far. Driving in is Denver, and Jala Osborne gets a little bit of contact. Foul going to go against Emmy Harris. So it's going to be a shooting foul. I guess, sorry, that was Brianna Johnson, not Osborne. That was fouled, so Johnson going to get a couple of free throws. She knocks down the first, brings it back within 2, 9-7. In comes for Denver, Jasmine Jeffcoat as Jala Osborne checks out. So Johnson will have one more. She's the third scorer on the team, 8.6 points per game. She's coming off of a 7-point, 12-rebound game against American, and she knocks down the second as well. And now it's 9-8. 5:54 to play in the first quarter. Pretty good start for Utah State. A lot of question marks offensively without Eliza West, but they've made do so far. Olivia has it right wing, passes it over to Duffy, left wing. Duffy over to Emmy Harris. Emmy Harris gets up to the free throw line, dumps it back out for Mason. Mason working against Jeffcoat, passes it out to Duffy. Duffy left corner. Emmy Harris thought about the three. Instead, she's going to drive up the baseline. Shot won't quite go, but fighting for the offensive board. Three Aggies there couldn't quite wrangle it in. Fast hands by Denver, and Jeffcoat comes down with it. Denver gets it across midcourt quickly, and then they slow it down a little bit. Grit has it top of the arc, passes it over to Jeffcoat, who shoots a three, knocks it down, and Denver has their first lead, now 11-9 for the Pioneers. Three from Jasmine Jeffcoat. She's averaging just 3.5 per game, and she's already got 3 tonight. Olivia has it, passes over to Duffy. Duffy over to Gear, who's going to work up the baseline. Nice move up the baseline, and she's fouled on the way to the rim, so she'll get a couple of shots. That's the 4th team foul for Denver. So one away from a bonus situation. That's going to go against Claire Grit. And a couple of shots coming up for Utah State. Timeout called as we're just under 5 minutes, so media timeout. We're going to cut out for a quick commercial break, and we'll be back in just a moment. Utah State trailing 11-9. All right, welcome back. Halfway through the first quarter, and Utah State trailing Denver 11-9. Utah State without starting point guard and Mountain West reigning freshman of the year, Eliza West, tonight. And a lot of players stepping up in her place. Victoria Price making her first start of the season, and a pretty good start for Utah State. Leading scorers so far for the Aggies, Shannon Duffy, who has 4 points and 3 rebounds. Shannon Duffy, when she is on. Every time she's gotten double digits in points, she's also gotten double digits in rebounds and vice versa. So it's a good sign that she's clicking early on. And Utah State starting things off, shooting 33% from the field, 3 of 9, while Denver 4 of 8. A couple of free throws coming up for Utah State. And the first shot from Jessie Gear goes. Now 11-10 the Denver lead. They can tie it up here, though, with a second shot from Jessie Gear. Sophomore guard averaging 2.9 per game. Can't get the second to go, but offensive board by Olivia West. Passes over to Duffy, and Duffy knocks it down. Heads up play by Utah State. And right place, right time for Olivia West, the shortest player on the team, grabbing the rebound there. Denver has it, now trailing. Shot from 3 goes up, rolls around the rim, hits the backboard, hit just about everything, and Madison Nelson knocks it down. I don't think she called bank, though. And Nelson, the senior forward, puts Denver back up 14-12. for Utah State. Bassett has just checked in for her first action of the game. She started the last 3 for Utah State, coming off the bench though today in place of Deja Mason. Here's Emmy Harris, passes it out, left wing for Olivia. Olivia steps up, shoots from just inside the three-point line, won't fall. Denver with the rebound. Jeffcoat was there for it, and Denver bringing it back. Romanowski tries to pass it in, and foul called on Utah State. I believe that's going to go against Haley Bassett. It is going to go against Bassett. Just got a little bit tangled up with the offensive player as the ball tried to get into the lane. So third team foul for Utah State, and Denver inbounds from the baseline. Corner 3 right away. Won't fall from Sierra Morgan, but offensive board grabbed by Denver. Another 3 goes up top of the arc from Logan. She can't get it to fall, but another offensive board from Denver, and they're going to get a third opportunity here. Thought about a 3 at the top of the arc from Logan, instead passes it out to Morgan. Morgan into the free throw line, gets it to Nelson. Nelson dumps it in. They reset it out to the top for Morgan. 3 goes up from the right wing. That one won't fall either, and Haley Bassett finally brings down a board for Utah State. They pass it across midcourt, and Olivia West is fouled up high before she even could get it very far. She couldn't even get it past into the three-point line before she was fouled. Might have had a fast break opportunity. But that is the 5th team foul on Denver, so that's going to be a couple of shots coming for Utah State. Could be costly there from the Pioneers. And Olivia West going to have a couple. Olivia West has 2 points tonight. She's 2 of 2 from the free throw line, so she can make that 3 of 3 as she knocks down the third. Utah State's leading scorer this season with 15.8 per game. She's a 77% free throw shooter, so she's been pretty consistent there. 3 of 3 tonight. Second shot from Olivia, in and out, and rebound grab by Nelson. Denver brings it across midcourt and pass it to Nelson. Foul called in the lane. I believe this is going to be Bassett again. Bassett has kind of had a knack for picking up kind of weird fouls this season where the entire Aggie bench disagrees, and I think she's just, a bigger body, a good physical player, and just gets tangled up, finds herself in the wrong place at the wrong times sometimes, and she's called for a foul there. So Denver ball they inbound. That's only the 4th for Utah State, so 1 more till the bonus. Corner 3 pops up from Johnson, won't fall, and rebound fought for. Price is going to come away with it. Poor three-point shooting so far for Denver. 2 of 7. They've missed about, 4 straight. Gear has it right corner, passes it back up to Price at the right wing. Back to Gear. Gear dumps it into Bassett. Bassett working. Decides to pass it back out to Gear, who's got a lane. Gets up and puts it in with the lefty. And Utah State hops back in the lead now. 15-14 for the Aggies. 3 in transition. Quick 3 goes up from Lauren Lovin and knocks it down. And that's going to put Denver back with a 2-point lead. Price has it, passes it over to Harris. Harris gets the screen from Brewster. Harris works in the lane, 2 players on her. She is fouled. No, offensive foul called on Harris instead. Say that she charged in and the feet were planted, so Emmy Harris picks up her 2nd, and it's going to be Denver ball. 2:09 remaining, Denver up 17-15. Utah State 3 assists this quarter, so pretty good quarter there, even without their top passer. So doing a good job making up for the loss of Eliza West. Denver has it, gets to the free throw line, passes it out, an air ball from the baseline from Jasmine Jeffcoat, hitting nothing and goes out of bounds off of Denver, fighting for the rebound. So Aggie's going to get the ball from the baseline. Price has it. Price has only taken 1 shot so far, but she's got a rebound for Utah State. Price passes it over to Brewster, over to Gear. Gear screen set by Brewster, gets Brewster open in the corner for a 3. That won't fall. Jessie Gear fights for the offensive rebound, but tries to throw it away too quick and passes it out of bounds, looking for Brewster. So heads up, good aggression by Jessie Gear, but kind of a mental error to pass it out of bounds. Harris going to check out while Shannon Duffsey checks back in. Olivia West going to check in for Jessie Gear. 1:36 to play here in the first quarter. Denver ball is their bet to bring it over midcourt. Utah State not going with much full court pressure today. Letting Denver play in the backcourt freely. They bring it across and steal by Victoria Price, who's going to take it coast to coast. Picked up the steal and then got her first points of the game immediately following to tie things back up at 17. Johnson driving into the lane, kicks it out right corner, finds Logan in the corner, who passes it back in to Curtin. Curtin passes it out left. Johnson driving up the baseline. Can't get the lay-in to go, and Deja Mason with the board. 57 to go. Price passes it over, finds Brewster, left wing, gets it into Duffy. Duffy on the baseline. Back up to Brewster. Passes it out to Price. Price left wing, up to Mason at the top. Mason hands it back out to Brewster. Screen set by Duffy, gets Brewster open for the lay-in, can't fall. Offensive board grabbed by Price and then stolen away by Denver. Looks like she tried to go back up with it and was blocked. And then flying back in transition, foul called as Samantha Romanowski charged into the lane, but the foul going to go against Utah State's Deja Mason. Mason couldn't get her feet planted in time, so that's going to be her second, and it's going to send Samantha Romanowski to the line. Romanowski, her first time this season coming off the bench, knocks down her first shot. She's been a starter in every game, averaging 7.8 points per game, 2.8 assists per game. That's second on the team, 2.1 rebounds per game. And she's an 82% free throw shooter. Hits the second, and that's going to put Denver up by 2 again. 19-17, back and forth we go. 25 seconds to go, so Utah State will have an opportunity for the last shot here in the quarter. Shot clock is turned off. Brewster has it up high, passes it out to Price. Price just going to dribble it out, wait until the shot clock gets down a little bit. 10 seconds, she passes it over to West. West up top for Duffy. 5 on the clock. Duffy driving in, passes it out to the right, and she traveled. Found Olivia West in the corner, but traveled on the way. And that's going to go back to Denver with 2.8 on the clock. Aggie bench telling the team not to foul, whatever they do. Clock ticking down. Denver inbounds. They bring it across midcourt. Shot goes up. Wouldn't have counted if it went, but it didn't anyway. And that's going to be how the first quarter comes down to an end. Close one, back and forth, and it's really been a very good game so far. Utah State playing well and hanging with a good Denver team. Trailing after one quarter, 19-17. We'll cut out to a quick break and come back with the second quarter here on Aggie Radio and Mountain West Network. Thanks for tuning in. All right, welcome back. Utah State and Denver facing off. Aggies trail after one quarter, 19-17. This is a really good Denver team, and I've said that a few times. I want to emphasize, though, this is a team that's coming off of a 6-win season last year. Before that, a 5-win season, and before that, 8, and before that, 9, and they're already 6-5 this season. So they've matched last season's win total under new head coach Jim Turgeon. Really just, I mean, an impressive team because they are starting 2 freshmen today. They have played 5 freshmen this season, and they're still able to do what they've been able to do. So Denver ball to start out this quarter. Steal almost picked up by Victoria Price as Denver starts it. Victoria Price tries to poke it away again. She's making life hard on Brianna Johnson. But again, Denver retains possession. Johnson way up high on the left side. Gets the screen. Shoots from 3, and that won't fall. Defensive board grab by Shannon Duffesey. Good defensive start for Utah State this quarter. Victoria Price with the crossover, gets herself in the lane, kind of hopped up and down. Shot didn't go. I don't know if it was a shot or a pass, but Deja Mason grabbed it and passed it back out. Regardless, it didn't hit the rim, so 10 left on the shot clock. And then the pass to Mason from Olivia West is intercepted from Jasmine Jeffcoat, who takes it straight at the rim and puts Denver up by 4. Heads up play by Jeffcoat there on defense. Freshman from Louisville, Colorado. Aggies have it. Biggest deficit of the game now, trailing by 4. And Brewster trying to get in the lane. Gets it stripped away out of bounds by Denver. So it'll be an Aggie inbound from the baseline. Olivia to inbound. Passes it up high on the right wing for Price, who goes over to Brewster. Brewster over to Olivia West, left wing. 3 goes up, knocks it down, and 1. 4-point play opportunity coming for Olivia West. That's cold-blooded, and foul going to go against Carrie Weinman. So Olivia heading to the line for 1 more. She's got 6 tonight. Looking to add to that total. Can't get it to go. So it will stay as a 3-point play. Back in transition, Denver gets a nice looking lay-in from Grip, but she can't get it to fall. Offensive board grab though by Weinman, who passes it out to the corner, and then defensive foul called. Aggie fans and bench certainly disagree, as that's going to go against Olivia West. They thought her feet were planted, and it certainly looked like they were, but it's going to be a defensive foul on Utah State. I mentioned how big of a key it is for Olivia West to stay out of foul trouble, and not good news for her to pick up 1 there, though it is just her first. So inbound from Denver, gets a corner 3 shot by Nelson, but that won't fall, and they're going to get the offensive board. Another 3 opportunity from Weinman. That won't fall either. Utah State giving up a lot of second and third chance opportunities, but they pick up the rebound here and hold them scoreless on that possession. Olivia tries to drive in, puts up a shot from about 10 in the paint, and that won't fall. Denver grabs the board. They pass it into Nelson. Nelson in the paint working against Duffesey. She spins around, gets the finger roll, but that won't go. Hits the rim and bounces off. Duffesey with the board. That is Shannon Duffesey's 4th rebound of the night. Aggies trailing 21-20, 7:40 remaining here in the second quarter. Price gets the screen set from Mason up high. Gets it poked away, but picks the ball back up, poked away again, and still keeps possession. Passes out to Olivia. Another 3 coming from the top, and she gets that one as well. Olivia West is feeling it right now, and when she's feeling it, that's a really good sign for Utah State. Assist going to go to Victoria Price, and Utah State takes the lead again, 23-21. Working into the lane is Jasmine Jeffcoat, but she can't get it over the fingertips of Deja Mason. Shot went long, and then a fight for the ball. Jump ball called, and it's going to go in Utah State's possession. So Brewster and Mason checking out. Jessie Gear and Laura Dalton checking in. Dalton getting her first minutes of the night, the freshman center for Utah State. Aggies up 23-21, get the ball after that jump. Olivia has it, top of the arc. Tries to get into Dalton, it's nearly poked away from Jeffcoat, but goes back to the fingers of Olivia West. 10 on the shot clock. West going to start to drive in, tries to pass out to Dalton on the baseline. Dalton can't quite wrangle it in. A little bit of a sloppy pass and just couldn't get the fingers on it. And it's going to go back to Denver. In the corner is Johnson. Johnson dumps it in to Jeffcoat, and Laura Dalton draws the charge. Good heads-up defensive play from the freshman center to get another foul on Denver. First quarter they had foul trouble. This quarter they've already got a couple. Aggie's going to take it up 23-21, 6:38 to play in the second quarter. Price has it, passes it over to West on the right wing. Screen set from Dalton. She's going to get up to the wing, or up to the elbow, pass it out left corner for Gear. Fight for the ball. Dalton comes out with it somehow. Dalton on the baseline passes it out. Right wing, here's Duffy, 8 on the shot clock. Duffy goes left corner for Gear, shoots the 3. Doesn't quite go, and Denver with the board. That was Alt picking it up. And back in transition, a travel called on Samantha Romanowski. So another turnover there for Denver. And Utah State going to take it back with a 2-point lead. Utah State really needs to capitalize on these opportunities. Whenever you get a turnover, you get those second chance points. That's when you have to take care of business. Here's Price. Price gets it into Duffy on the baseline. Duffy working against White. Passes it out to West. West driving up, passes out corner. 3 goes up from Price, won't fall. And Denver with the board. Romanowski picks it. Back in transition, Denver has 2-on-1, and they get the easy lay-in. Laura Dalton couldn't defend 2 players at once, and Johnson going to pick up a couple for Denver. I'm sorry, that's going to be Grace White picking up a couple. The freshman forward now on the board. Here's Price, left wing. Passes into Dalton. Dalton double team, so she kicks it back out to West. West going to drive up the lane. Wild shot, hits high off the backboard, but offensive board picked up by Gear. Gets it over to the baseline. Jumper from Shannon Duffy. 15-footer goes. Utah State up 25-23. Just 5 minutes to go here, halfway through the second quarter. Driving in, Romanowski gets in, then kicks it back out for an open shot. A couple more for Denver. It's going to be Jordan Alt with the shot. Price brings it across midcourt. She's guarded right now by Johnson. Passes over to West, left wing. West back to Price. Price up to Duffy. Duffy's top of the arc, hands it back. Right wing to West, steps into the free throw line, steps back. Goes back over to Price. Price tries to pass it, tipped away, gets it back to Olivia. She shoots from about 17, won't fall, but offensive board grabbed again as Jessie Gear tips it back to Olivia West. Utah State going to have another opportunity here. 4:15 remaining, timeout called by Coach Finkbeiner. And that's going to take us to a break here. So we'll cut out for just a minute. Utah State leading, or I guess, I'm sorry, tied up 25-25 with 4:14 to play in the second quarter. We'll be back in just a moment from the Dee Glen Smith Spectrum. And welcome back to the Dee Glen Smith Spectrum. Utah State women's basketball taking on Denver. It's all tied up at 25 apiece with 4:14 to play here in the second quarter. Thanks for tuning into today's game here on Aggie Radio and Mountain West Network. Here on Aggie Radio, we're going to have every game this season live on 92.3 in Logan, as well as AggieRadio.com. Doubleheader today as Utah State men are in action tonight here in the same building, taking on Life Pacific. That should be a good one as well, and you can catch that on Aggie Radio as well with Scott Gerard on the call. Fans that are in attendance here get discounted tickets for that one, and fans with tickets to that game get discounted tickets for this game. So Aggies pushing hard for the doubleheader, but a little bit of a sparse showing for Utah State so far. Aggies inbound it. 4:10 to play here in the quarter. It's all tied up. Victoria Price passes it over to Duffy. Duffy back to Price, left wing, thought about the three, instead goes over to Gear in the corner. I'm sorry, West in the corner, passes into Duffy, shoots from 15, won't fall, and rebound grabbed by Brianna Johnson. Back in transition, Romanowski takes a quick shot from the right side. That won't fall either, and Aggies grab the rebound, bringing it back. Utah State with 18 rebounds, Denver with 18 as well, so we're all tied up in that game. Pass from Duffy to Price is poked away by Romanowski, but it's going to go out of bounds. Utah State will have it. Gear going to check out in place of Emmy Harris, so the freshman coming in for a little bit more action. Leading scorer for Utah State right now, Olivia West, who has 9 points. Duffy has 8 of her own with 6 rebounds, so well on her way to another double-double. Emmy Harris gets it left corner, 3 goes up, won't quite fall. Franson fights for the board, tips it back to Harris, and another second chance opportunity on an offensive board for Utah State. Franson is checked in, she's getting her first time of the night, the freshman getting an opportunity now. Right wing, West has it, passes it to Franson on the elbow, passes it back out to West. West gonna drive up, left side, spins around, gets up to the basket, shot won't fall, and rebound grabbed. Strong board from Jordan Alt. Alt, the leading rebounder for Denver. And back in transition, a shot goes up from Love, and I don't believe it was a 3. Oh, they're gonna say it was. So she was just outside the line, and Denver takes a 3-point lead on that, 28-25. Harris has it left wing. Screen set by Duffy. He's going to get Harris free for a lay-in, but she's fouled on the way up. Foul going to go, I believe, Jordan Alt. Got the contact there. Yeah, it is Alt with it. So that is the 3rd foul for Alt. A little bit of foul trouble there for a very important player to this Denver team. She's the team's leading rebounder and the 3rd rebounder in the Summit League this season. So Harris will have a couple. Emmy Harris' first shot goes in. She's averaging 2.7 points per game in just 9 minutes. She's 7 of 9 from the free throw line coming into this. I'll make that 8 of 10 after she knocks that one down. One more coming. Harris knocks down the second. I imagine she's going to see a lot more time than usual as well with the absence of Eliza West today. Her and Victoria Price stepping up big so far. 3 goes up from Denver. It was from Grace White, right wing, won't fall, but she grabs her own offensive board and then dumps it in to Jasmine Jeffcoat, who puts in the easy lay-in and puts Denver back up by 3 again, 30-27, just over 2 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Brewster's back in the game. She gets the screen, kicks it out right for Harris. Harris passes it up to Price. Price into Deja Mason, spins around, tries to get up to the hoop. Her shot is blocked, but Haley Bassett picks up off the block and puts it right back up. Heads up play by Haley Bassett, and she's got her first points of the night. Denver back in transition. 3 goes up top of the arc from Lovin. That won't fall, and a rebound untouched goes out of bounds. Utah State going to have it. Now trailing by 1, can take over with this possession. In the rebounding game for Utah State, leading the way, Shannon Duffy with 6. Mason has 4 of her own. Victoria Price with 3. And Utah State and Denver tied at 20 apiece. So after that, Price has it. Left wing screen set by Mason up high. She's going to hold on to it, tries to pass it to Bassett, and it's poked away by Grace White, poked out of bounds. So Utah State going to take it from the left side on the inbound. Leading scorer for Denver so far, Jasmine Jeffcoat with 7. Lovin has 6 of her own, as does Weinman. Romanowski with 4 rebounds and 5 points tonight, coming off the bench for the first time this season. Lindsey Jensen going to check in for her first action for Utah State as Emmy Harris checks out. Aggies inbound to Deja Mason. Mason double teamed. She's trying to fight it away, trying to avoid the jump ball, and she passes it back out to Brewster. Brewster going to cross over, shoot from the top of the arc. 3 won't go. She tries to get her own rebound, but can't quite wrangle it in. Denver going to grab it. Denver slows it down a little bit. Thought about the three to Jeffcoat, but instead she passes it in to Osborne. Osborne tries to go up, and that's blocked. Aggie ball. 1:05 to go. Utah State trailing by 1. So Deja Mason picks up another block. Make that 18 on the season now for the junior. Aggies just 1 of 7 from on their last 7 shots. See if they can turn that around. Bassett passes it into Mason. Mason spins around on the block. Can't get that to go, so make that 1 of 8. And yet Utah State still just trailing by 1. In transition, Weinman has it. Passes over top of the arc to Jeffcoat. Jeffcoat over to Romanowski, who's going to work off the screen and work her way in. Passes it out right wing to Weinman, who's going to drive up to the left. That won't fall, and Deja Mason with another board. Deja Mason now with 5 rebounds. And Price goes flying in, passes it to Bassett. Bassett was blocked. Good transition defense from Denver. It is going to go out of bounds for a Utah State inbound. I believe that block was Kerry Weinman. There were 2 Denver players there. Actually, they're going to say Jeffcoat got it. Aggie inbound. 17 to go in the quarter, so shot clock is off. Price has it, works off a screen from Mason. Price takes over to the right wing, passes it up. Gets a 3 from Rachel Brewster, knocks it down. And Denver trying to get 1 shot off before the end of the half. They can't get it to go. 3 went up from Romanowski, but it was after the buzzer, I believe, anyway. And Utah State going to head to the locker room feeling good about their performance here in the first half, leading a good Denver team 32-30. Utah State just played really good team ball that entire half. Shot just 33%, so that's definitely a place where you can improve. And despite that, they're still leading. For Utah State, 7 assists, which might be the most surprising number, as this is a team that averages just over 11 per game, and they're without their leading assister. So they're going without Eliza West and still on track to get well over their season's average. And that's kind of been the difference for Utah State. They're holding Denver to 35% shooting. Denver just 4 of 13 from the 3-point line. And in the rebounding battle, Utah State up 24-22. So we're going to cut out to a halftime break. Leading scorers for Utah State this half, Olivia West with 9, Duffy with 8. And on the flip side for Denver, Jeffcoat with 7, and Weinman and Lovin with 6 apiece. Aggies lead Denver 32-30 after 1 half. We'll be back after a halftime break here on Aggie Radio and Mountain West Network. Thanks for tuning in. All right, welcome back. Halftime break between Utah State women's hoops and the Denver Pioneers. Utah State leading at halftime 32-30 down at the Spectrum. It's Utah State's first home game in nearly a month, and it's good to be home for Utah State. Before the game, when I talked to Coach Finkbeiner, and we heard this on the pregame interview, he said that he believes that home court is worth about 7 points, and that would certainly explain a lot of Utah State's early struggles this season. The Aggies in the preseason are only playing 4 home games, which is extremely low. You look at most Mountain West teams, and they play more in the range of 7, 8, 9 home games during that stretch. But Utah State only 4, and I really do believe that the road can be a big part of the problem for Utah State's struggles so far. I mean, you look at it, and they lost a very close one to UC Irvine to start out the season. That was on the road. They lost by 3 on a buzzer beater. They lost by 3 to Southern Utah. They lost by just a few points to Montana State on a neutral site. It was a 12-point game, but it was truly a much closer game than that until just the final seconds of it. And so, I mean, that's 3 more very probable wins had those been at home. And so kind of tough scheduling for Utah State. I'm not trying to make excuses for them. I mean, they started out the season, and right now they're 2-7, and that's bad no matter how you look at it. But I don't think that they're quite as bad as the 2-7 record shows. Playing pretty solid basketball tonight against a good Denver team, up by 2 at halftime, and doing so without starting point guard Eliza West in the lineup. Eliza West has been out warming up. She warmed out with the team before the game. She is out there at halftime right now, kind of shooting the ground, so at least she is mobile. But she's got a sprained ankle that she suffered in practice this week, and hopefully she'll be back soon. Doesn't seem to be too bad, and she was a game-time decision, so that tells you that, if nothing else, it's at least a short-term injury. Denver, this is an interesting team. When you look at it, their biggest strengths, they're really good at shooting the 3. They're 43rd in the nation in three-pointers made per game. They're averaging 8.3 per game. And tonight, Utah State doing a pretty good job of holding them down. They're just 4 of 13 from the three-point line. They're also a pretty good team at rebounding. They average on about 3.5 rebounds per game more than their opponent, but Utah State doing a good job holding them down there, too, up 17-15 in that margin. I'm sorry, up 24-22, looking at the wrong line, up 24-22 in the rebounding margin. And so Utah State has really kind of taken the strengths of this Denver team and taken advantage of those, and met those, and then taken advantage of the weaknesses. And that's why Utah State has a 2-point lead at halftime. We heard Coach Finkbeiner talk about that this Utah State team tends to play to the level of their opponents, and that has certainly been the case this entire season. It's just going to be a matter of whether they can stay just a little bit better than those opponents. Doesn't matter how you win as long as you get the W. Interestingly enough, these two teams have played 3 times in program history. All 3 of those coming back in 2013. They played 3 times in a matter of about 3 or 4 months. That was the lone season that Denver was in the WAC, and it was Utah State's last season in the WAC back in 2013. Coach Jerry Finkbeiner's first year as the head coach here at Utah State. Utah State swept that series. They won all 3 games, including knocking Denver out of the WAC tournament, winning 78-65. So none of the players that are on either of the teams have faced off in this series. No Denver players have played Utah State and vice versa. So it is kind of a little bit of an unfamiliar rivalry. But good to see a team that's nearby, another regional team coming over, and a team that Utah State does have at least a little bit of history with.
Yep, I'll plan on being up here at 6.
So to start out the second half, Denver inbounds from midcourt. Right away, they get it to Weinman, who works up the baseline. She passes it out up to the free throw line for Alt, who knocks down a shot. And just less than 10 seconds into the second half, Denver ties it up at 32. Aggie ball. Deja Mason has it top of the arc. Passes it over to Price, left wing. Price up against Weinman. Steps, passes it over to Olivia West. Olivia gets the screen from Duffesey. Passes it back to Duffesey. 6 on the shot clock. Winding down. Deja Mason has it spinning around on the block, puts it up, won't fall, and offensive board grabbed by Shannon Duffesey. Duffesey now has 7 rebounds tonight. That was a big one. Screen set by Deja Mason for Brewster. Her shot won't fall. Offensive board grabbed by Duffesey, and then she walks. So turnover for Utah State there. Just their 5th of the night. Utah State doing a good job keeping those turnovers way down. Denver only 4, though, as well, so they're not forcing many. But a really clean game all around for both of these teams. So Denver ball. Johnson has it right wing. Poked away. Price steals it. Quick hands by Victoria Price. 2-on-2 in transition. Olivia West, corner 3, goes in. Utah State out to a 3-point lead. Olivia West could have driven, instead slowed it down, had confidence in the shot, and the Utah State's leading score adds to her total tonight. Back in transition, Denver puts up a quick shot at the rim. Won't fall. Deja Mason with the board. Olivia West now with 11 points. That was Deja Mason's 6th rebound there, and Utah State up by... They're going to say that was actually a 2 by Olivia West, so I misspoke. It was very near the 3-point line, but Utah State up by 2. Price has it, passes it over to Olivia West, right corner, passes it back up to Price. Price going to drive, right then left. Lefty won't go at the hoop, and rebound picked up by Denver. White just going to take it. She has a clear, wide open lane to the hoop. No Aggies in the way, though they had some players in the backcourt, just couldn't get up there. And that's going to tie things up, 34 apiece. Brewster has it, works off the screen, tries to pass it over to Price, and it's poked away by Weinman. Out of bounds, though, and Utah State going to have the inbound near midcourt. 7:45 to play here in the second quarter. Victoria Price going to inbound. Price making her first start of the season tonight in place of Eliza West. Done a good job in place of the phenomenal Mountain West Freshman of the Year. Just 2 points, but she's made 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and making her defensive impact known. Aggies inbound, and Olivia West tries to drive into the lane. Took one too many steps before she could pass it over to Deja Mason, so travel called on Utah State. Utah State only had 4 turnovers in the first half, but they've already got 2 here. Just 2.5 minutes into the third quarter. Denver ball. Nelson has it, passes it up top to Alt. Alt over to the right for Lovin, back over to Romanowski. Denver doing a good job spreading the ball around. Romanowski dumps it in from the right wing, gets it in for Alt, spins around, beautiful fadeaway, and that's going to put Denver in the lead for the first time in a little while, 36-34. Aggies outscored Denver in the second quarter, 15-11. Back the other way, foul called off the ball on Denver. That's going to go against Carrie. Oh, it's going to go against Claire Gritt. It's the first team foul of this quarter, and for Gritt, that's her 3rd. So a little bit of foul trouble there. Alt has 3 of her own. No player at Utah State with more than 2. Inbound goes to Brewster, and she's fouled on the shot from about 15. Shot won't fall, so she's gonna get a couple of free throws, and that foul called against Samantha Romanowski. For Romanowski, that's just her 1st, but the 2nd team foul, so those racking up quick. Brewster hits the 1st. Rachel Brewster, 75% free throw shooter so far this season. She's coming off a pretty flat game against Utah Valley. She only scored 2 points in that game. She's the team's second leading scorer, but she did have 7 rebounds, so she still made an impact on that. But she's coming off 3 phenomenal games before that, where she had nearly 20 points in all of those. Hits the 2nd free throw, and back in transition, Utah State steals it away. I believe that was Duffsey got her hands on it, and Utah State going to take over, tied up at 36 apiece. Price has it, passes it over to Brewster, left wing, hands it back off to Price. Price up to Mason, top of the arc. Mason going to dribble, hands it back to Brewster. Thought about the 3, instead dribbles over to the left, passes it back into Mason. 6 on the shot clock. Price has it, left wing. She steps in, gets up to the elbow, shoots from 15 and knocks it down. Beautiful hesitation move from Victoria Price, and she now has 4. Back the other way, quick 3, shot from the top of the arc. Denver knocks it down. That was Madison Nilsson who got it. For Nilsson, that is her 1st shot of the night, and that's going to put Denver back up by 1. Timeout called. 6:05 to play here. We're going to go out to a quick break and come back at it with the rest of the third quarter. Utah State trailing by 1, 39-38. Utah State women's hoops taking on Denver over at the Spectrum. Denver leading by 1 with 6:05 to play in the third quarter. It's a 39-38 game. Been a really competitive back-and-forth game. Utah State playing, in my estimation, one of their best games of the season so far. They looked really good about a week and a half ago against BYU, and we're seeing a pretty similar-looking team tonight, even despite being without starting point guard Eliza West. But a good effort from Utah State making up. And now trailing a really good Denver team by 1 about midway through the third quarter. Aggie ball to start things out here. Coming out of the timeout. Victoria Price has it up point guard. Price passes it over to Duffy. Duffy back to Price over to the right wing. Olivia West thought about the three, instead goes back up to Price over to the left wing and drives in. Brewster blocked, clean block, beautiful block by Denver. Rolls back out of bounds, Aggie ball. So Utah State inbound coming. Price gets it up to Duffy, back to Price. Victoria Price only averaging, she's only played 15 minutes in the last 4 games as a corner three goes up from Olivia West. That won't fall on Denver with the rebound. Price played 15 minutes in the last 4 games, and she starts tonight. Back in transition, lay-in from Claire Grit goes to put Denver up by 3. But Price has played 21 minutes tonight and had a huge impact on the game in place of Eliza West. Price has it top of the arc, being guarded right now by Grit. 3 goes up, and Duffy knocks it down. Shannon Duffy's been struggling from the three-point line all season, just 4 of 23 before that for 17%. Make that 5 of 24, though, as she hits that one. 3 the other way for Denver goes up from the right wing. Claire Grit can't knock it down. We're back to tie it up. Seems like it's been really tough for either team to get more than a 2-3 point lead here, and then we're just back to tied over and over again. So it's been fun. Price passes it up to Duffy. Duffy over to Olivia West. Screen set, double screen, and Olivia West gets up to the hoop, but a little bit of a contact on the ball as Jeffcoat got the block on the way to the rim. And out of bounds, Utah State will get it from the baseline. Another timeout called. We'll keep it here for this one. Team's going to head back into the huddles. For Utah State, Duffy, after that three-pointer, now has 11 points on 5 of 6 shooting and 8 rebounds. I've mentioned earlier that every single time this season that Duffy has gotten double digits in points, she's also gotten double digits in rebounds and vice versa. So when she's clicking, it's an automatic double-double. And a few weeks ago, I talked to Coach Finkbeiner following a 19-rebound game from Shannon Duffy against Southern Utah, and he said that, you know, the great thing about a player like Shannon Duffy is you can expect a double-double. You can tell her that her standard is going to be a double-double every night, and she'll usually meet that challenge. She's well on her way tonight. Olivia West has 11 points for Utah State, though just 3 of 12 shooting, but she's making a difference from the three-point line and from the free throw line, and she's also got an assist and a couple of rebounds. Victoria Price has stepped up big. She's only got 4 points, so you might seem insignificant, but 4 assists and 3 rebounds And the biggest thing that Utah State needed to do without Eliza West is find a way to get those assists, to spread the ball around, and Victoria Price has been absolutely instrumental in that. She's played 22 minutes. That's more than anybody except for Olivia West, who also has 22. And so after playing just 15 minutes in the last 4 games combined, she has come out big and having a good game in her first start of the season. Other than that, a lot of other players stepping up. Brewster has 5 points. Mason's got 3 points, 8 rebounds, though, to go along with it. On the other side for Denver, Jeffcoat's got 7. Lovin's got 6. Weinman's got 6. Alt's got 6. Leading the rebound game. Romanowski with 4. I'm sorry, Nelson with 6 and Romanowski with 4. Denver's a team that likes to play a whole lot of different players, get a whole bunch of players time. As Utah State comes out of the timeout, they inbound. It's immediately stolen away, but then back the other way. Olivia West steals it back for Utah State, passes over to Duffsey, stepped inside the three-point line from the left wing, couldn't get the shot to fall, would have been a 2. And Bassett picks up the board. She got a lot of contact, foul not called. And Denver takes over, shoots a corner 3, which is entirely airballed from Grace White. So a really sloppy, about 50 seconds there from both of these teams. Victoria Price gonna end that though. She drives a beautiful lay-in on her way to the hoop, and that puts Utah State up by a couple. 43-41, 3:55 to play. Denver has it. Driving in is Romanowski, passes it out, gets a open 3 from Brianna Johnson on the right wing, knocks that one down, and back and forth we go yet again. Another lead change here. Denver now out to a 44-43 lead. 13 lead changes so far tonight. Bassett has it on the block. She tries to get it up. Spun her elbows around, shot, and the shot wouldn't fall, but the rebound by Denver is tipped out of bounds. Grace White couldn't quite bring it in, and so Utah State going to have the inbound from the baseline. Olivia West to inbound. Foul called. Looks like Olivia West was trying to get it in, and foul called on Jordan Alt before anything even happened. So Alt picks up another foul. She's going to check out. That's her 4th, so she's 1 away. And Denver trying to make a substitution. Officials saying she's going to have to wait for just a moment, though, I believe. 44-43, Denver lead. 3:30 to play in the third quarter. So for Denver, Carrie Weinman checks in. Alt has to stay in, though, for just a moment. Utah State to inbound from the baseline. Olivia passes it into Duffsey, top of the arc. Duffsey hands it back to Price. Price passes over. Olivia West, right wing. Bassett fakes the screen and then jumps in, and pass from Olivia to Bassett is intercepted. Fast hands by Brianna Johnson to steal it, and now they're going to make the substitution as Jasmine Jeffcoat comes in for Jordan Alt. So Denver ball, another Utah State turnover. They had 4 in the entire first half, and they've already got 4 in this quarter, so 8 total. Denver with only 7. Denver has it, gets it up to the block, kicks it back out. Top of the arc, here's Johnson. Johnson works over to the left, and offensive foul called as she charges. Good draw from Victoria Price, who just hit the floor. And that's going to be the 4th team foul for Denver this quarter, so getting near a bonus situation. Brewster going to check out for Utah State as Jessie Gear checks in. That foul goes against Brianna Johnson, just her first. Price gets it in, beautiful thread into Bassett, and that's going to be another assist. Make that 5 for Victoria Price, who is looking very much like Eliza West tonight, filling in the shoes beautifully in her first start of the season. And Utah State feeling good right now. Bassett now with 4 points. Driving in is Johnson. Johnson, a nice little move, shoots from about 10 feet out and brings that back to another Denver lead, 46-45. 15 lead changes, and it is just back and forth. Denver's led for about 11 minutes, while Utah State's led for about 8. Screen set for Olivia West by Duffesy up on the left wing. Olivia passes over to Gear, finds Price open in the corner. Price spinning around up the baseline. She walked on the way to the basket. And so another turnover there by Utah State. 2:06 to play. Denver leads by 1. That's the 9th team turnover by the Aggies. Denver ball. Johnson bringing it across as point guard, working against Olivia West. Passes it up to the free throw line for White, who dumps it in. Easy lay-in from Madison Nilsson on the assist by White. Utah State kind of fell apart in the paint there for just a moment. And that extends Denver's lead back out to 3. Price has it. She drives up, gets to the free throw line a few feet in front of it, and shoots. And Victoria Price feeling it now. 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists for Victoria Price, making the most of her time. Here's Grace White. Grace White gets into the lane. Bassett thought she had a clean block, but a whistle blows, and that's going to be a couple of shots coming up for Denver and Grace White. White has only shot 5 free throws so far this season, only made 2 of them. So she'll have a couple opportunities here. Freshman forward from Redby, Minnesota. Can't hit the first, so 2 of 6 now on the season. She's averaging 3.5 points per game, and has got 2 points tonight. One more shot coming. Second shot goes in, and Denver's lead up to 2 now, 49-47. Price brings it across midcourt. Price over to Gear. Gear dumps it into Duffesy, baseline, back out top to Price. Price over to West, right wing. Back up to Price, who passes it out to Gear. Gear gets it into Bassett, kicks it out, left corner. Price shoots a 3, was open, didn't get it to go, air ball actually, but Duffesy picks up the rebound. She shoots back up to avoid the shot clock violation, and that won't fall. Had a good look at it, but Denver with the rebound. Johnson passes it over left wing, finds Weinman. Weinman back up to White. White gets the screen, doesn't use it. Thought about the 3, guarded closely by Duffesy. She goes over to Weinman. Weinman up, passes over to Nelson, who got an open 15-footer. That won't fall. Aggies fight for the board, and that's going to go out of bounds. Off of Gary Weinman, Utah State ball. Aggies trailing by a couple, 49-47. We got 36.4 seconds to play here in the quarter. So about 6 seconds between the shot and the game clock. See how Utah State attacks that. For Denver, Romanowski checks back in place of Grace White. Emmy Harris now in at point guard for Utah State, taking the place of Price. Harris passes it over to Bassett, left wing. Bassett back to Gear. Back up top to Harris. Harris over right side for Brewster. Brewster left corner. Gear has a 3. Wide open, knocks it down. Aggies take the lead again, 50-49. 13 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Denver brings it across midcourt. Clock winding down to 7. Johnson has it left wing, screen set. She's going to get up to the free throw line, spins around, 3 seconds. Shoots, doesn't fall. Coach wanted to travel, doesn't matter anyway. And Utah State going to head to the third quarter break with a 1-point lead. Man, has it been a good game. Utah State up 50-49. We've had 16 lead changes, and neither team has been able to come out to more than a 4-point lead. It has been a phenomenal game. Each team just playing up to the level of their opponent. And that's going to take us to the third quarter break. We'll cut out for just a moment and come back with the fourth quarter here on Aggie Radio and Mountain West Network. Thanks for tuning in. All right, fourth quarter just about to get underway. Utah State women's hoops taking on Denver, and we have got a really good game here at the Spectrum. Utah State leading 50-49 in a game that has been back and forth throughout its entirety. Utah State, without its leading passer in Eliza West, who averages nearly 5 assists per game, has already got 11 assists tonight, and they're averaging 11.6 per game as a team. With still a quarter left to go, they're nearly at that total, and that's been huge. Big thanks to Victoria Price, who's got 5 in her place. Brewster with a couple as well. Inbound quickly for Denver, and a 3 goes up within just a few seconds. Weinman can't knock it down, but offensive board grabbed by Denver, and they put up another. That one won't go. Another offensive board. Left corner, they're just going to reset things. Romanowski passes it over to Johnson. Johnson in the corner, passes it back up top. Steal by Emmy Harris, almost got a hold of it, but Grit was able to hold on to the ball. Shot clock winding down, 10 seconds. Baseline jumper from Nelson won't go from about 15, and Jesse Gear finally brings in a rebound for Utah State. Another huge area of emphasis has been the rebounding battle for Utah State. This season, Utah State's on average being out-rebounded by 5 per game, and right now they're up 35-26 in that margin. So Brewster has it up top, 10 on the shot clock. Brewster gets up to the elbow, passes it to Duffy. They're going to call an offensive foul, though, on Brewster. She certainly is contesting it, as is the Aggie bench. But that's going to go against Brewster. That's the first team foul of the quarter for Utah State, and I believe that's Brewster's, just her first as well. But that will be essentially a turnover for Utah State, and Denver takes over. So Denver's Brianna Johnson brings it across. Johnson hands it back to Romanowski, right wing. Romanowski driving up, going against Bassett, and can't get it to go. Brewster with the rebound. On top of Utah State's rebounding struggles this season, Denver has been a really good rebounding team. They're plus 3.4 in rebounding margin, so Utah State, the fact that they're out-rebounding this team by so much is huge. Denver gets a steal on the pass from Bassett, and in transition, they decide to slow things down. Lovin passes over a baseline jumper from Alt, who can't get it to go from 15. Utah State getting some lucky breaks here as Denver just not hitting open shots. Utah State maintains a 50-49 lead. Emmy Harris at point guard right now. Harris goes over to Brewster. Brewster kicks it out. Long pass over to the right corner for a three-pointer from Gear, who can't get it to go, but offensive board picked up by Harris, who kicks it out left. Another three-pointer goes up from the left corner. This time Duffy, but that one airballs, and Denver with the rebound. Aggie's just 5 of 13 from three-point line tonight. Denver ball, they drive up, and Johnson can't get the lay-in to go, and foul called on Denver after the shot, so Utah State going to take it. 50-49, 7:46 to go. Bunch of substitutions coming in for Utah State. On the court now is Duffy, Price, Olivia West, Deja Mason, and Brewster. Price passes over to Brewster, into Mason at the baseline, back out to Price. 3 goes up from the wing, and Olivia West knocks down another. Utah State's leading scorer on the season is also the leading scorer in this game with 14 now. 3 of 4 from three-point line for Olivia. Lovin has it. Utah State now out to a 4-point lead. That's a huge lead in this game, as it's been 1-2-3 almost this entire game. Foul called on Victoria Price as she tried to reach in and steal it away from Johnson. So that's going to be Price's 3rd foul of the night, and the 2nd team foul for Utah State this quarter. It's just going to be a baseline inbound from Denver coming up. Aggies now shooting 5 of 13 from three-point line, much better than they have in recent games. Against Utah Valley, they shot just 4 of 27. Shot goes up real quick from Denver on the inbound play, and they're going to regain the lead 51-50 now. Price brings it across midcourt, passes over to Duffy, left wing. Over to the right for Olivia, back up. Aggies playing around the three-point line, and 3 goes up. Brewster can't knock it down from the left wing, and rebound picked up by Brianna Johnson. Coming back quickly, Denver thought about a shot. Grit almost popped it from the baseline. Instead passes it out to Johnson. Johnson gets it in to Alt, who passes it back out. Stuffed by Deja Mason. Grace White drove to the hoop, and Deja Mason picks up yet another block. Huge night for Deja Mason. And that is going to be her third of the night. 3 blocks, 8 rebounds, and 3 points for the junior center. She's the team's leading blocker this season. Right corner 3 from Olivia West goes up, in and out. Can't quite fall. Deja Mason pokes it over to Brewster. They're going to get another shot. Mason tries to put it back up. Can't quite get that. It's tipped out of bounds. That's out on Denver. Denver could have kept it in as Grit was chasing and just let it go out of bounds. Didn't see that one of her own teammates poked it out. So Utah State going to get another opportunity here. Need to take advantage of it. Up by 2. Victoria Price to inbound. Passes into Mason. Mason passes it back to Brewster. Brewster gets up. Shoots a 3. Can't quite get it. Foot might have been on the line anyway, but Denver grabs the rebound. Johnson bringing it back. Utah State has the numbers, though, to slow her down. Grit gets it near the corner, passes it over to Johnson. Johnson dumps it in, finds Alt. Alt playing in foul trouble, gets a shot. Fouled by Mason. Nearly got it to go anyway, but that's going to be a couple shots for Jordan Alt. A little surprising to see Alt in with this much time left, as she does have 4 fouls. But she may be playing careful basketball. I won't be surprised if Utah State tries to get it into the paint a lot. So 2 shots coming up. Knocks down the first, and that's going to tie things back up at 50. Alt, the senior from North Oaks, Minnesota, now has 6. Second shot good as well. She's averaging 6.4 points per game, now has 7 tonight, and 5 rebounds, averaging 7.4. 53 apiece. Price passes it back to Olivia West. West passes it back over. Here's Price. Price top of the arc. Price driving in, passes over to Mason in the corner. Brewster right wing. Brewster going to get up to the free throw line. Don't know if she shot it or what, but it's poked away. 3 on the shot clock, so Price has to chuck it up and knocks it down anyway. Crazy 3, and Price gets it to go. Utah State out to a 4-point lead now. Back the other way, though. Denver scores quickly. I guess that was a 3-point lead. Now down to 1, 56-55, 5:02 to play here in the 4th quarter. Every time Utah State makes a big play, Denver responds, and then the other way around as well. Victoria Price driving in. She's really feeling good tonight. Tried to get up. She was blocked. Heads-up play there by Jasmine Jeffcoat to pick up the block. And Denver now has it, an opportunity to regain the lead. Johnson passes over to White. White left wing. White working against Duffusy. Gets into the paint, spins around, puts up with the lefty. That won't go. Deja Mason fighting hard for the board. Jump ball forced. And that is going to go to Utah State. Media timeout called as we're just under 5 minutes, 4:31 to go. Utah State with a 1-point lead. This one's going to come down to the wire. It's been a good one. We will take a real quick break. Come back with the rest of this exciting game here from the Dee Glen Smith Spectrum. All right, welcome back. One quarter, I guess half of one quarter to play here at the Spectrum. Utah State women's hoops up against Denver, leading by 1 point. It is 56-55 with 4:31 to play here in the fourth. And it's been just back and forth over and over again. 16 lead changes. Denver has led for 13 minutes and 25 seconds. Utah State has led for 13 minutes and 11 seconds. That's how even this game has been. In the rebounding battle, Utah State killing it 44-32, but just not shooting nearly as well as Denver. 34% to Denver's 39. And Utah State with a few more turnovers, 11-8. Leading scorer for Utah State so far, Olivia West with 14, Duffy and Price with 11 apiece. Johnson for Denver with 11. Aggie ball to start things out of the timeout. Olivia West has it left wing. She's going to get the screen from Mason. West brings it up top of the arc, 13 on the shot clock. Passes over to Price. Price right wing, dumps it into Mason. Mason on the block. Working up against Jeffcoat. Spins around, tries to get it to go. Blocked by Denver. And Denver going to try and bring it back. They don't have the numbers, though. Utah State with 3 players back to slow things down. Johnson going to take it to the baseline, then step back. Johnson passes it out to Romanowski, top of the arc. Romanowski over to Grit. Grit over to the right for Grace White in the corner. White working up the baseline, stops and passes it back out up top to Romanowski, who shoots a 3, won't go, hits the front of the rim, but offensive rebound grabbed by Claire Grit. Denver making up a lot of ground in the rebounding battle here lately, especially on the offensive boards. For Grit, that's her 3rd of the night. 3 goes up from the left wing. Johnson knocks it down to regain the Denver lead, now up by 2, 58-56, 3:22 to play. Timeout called by Utah State. Coach Finkbeiner wants to regroup a little bit. Just watch his team blow a little bit of a lead, now trailing by 2. And so teams head back to the timeout, head back to the huddle. Utah State's leading rebounder tonight, Shannon Duffy. She's already got her double-double, 11 points and 11 rebounds. Add in an assist to that. She's shooting 5 of 9, so phenomenal night for Shannon Duffy stepping up. And it seems like when Shannon Duffy has a good night, the team has a good night, as a general rule. Victoria Price has 4 rebounds, Mason with 8. Just about to come out of the timeout. Utah State trailing by a couple. If you're tuning in here on Aggie Radio, come back tonight, and we're going to have Utah State men's hoops. They're taking on Life Pacific. That tips off at 7, but pregame will start at 6 o'clock with Scott Gerard. So Aggie hoops doubleheader today here on Aggie Radio. We're back at it, 3:18 to play. Aggie's inbound, and Price has it. Price up above the arc, passes over to Olivia West, right wing, back up to Price. Over to the left for Brewster. Brewster gets it into Duffy. Duffy gets some pressure, passes it out to Brewster, kicks it up. Free throw line looking for Mason, who can't quite wrangle it in 5 seconds. Olivia has it, shoots from just above the elbow, won't fall. Aggies can't get the board. And Romanowski picks it up. Denver coming back, slows it down. Denver trying to use a little bit of clock. White kicks over left corner, 3 goes up, knocks it down. That's huge for Denver. Brianna Johnson puts Denver up by 5. The biggest lead of the game, believe it or not, for either team. 5-point lead for Denver. Aggies bringing it back. It gets poked out of bounds by Denver, so they're just going to get it back from the left side inbound near the hash. 61-56, 2:34 to play. Brewster to inbound. She passes it into Price. Price over to West in the left corner, back up to Price. 14 on the shot clock. West has it, gets the screen from Brewster. She steps up inside the three-point line, shoots not a great percentage shot, and it doesn't fall. Denver with the rebound. Coach not too happy about that shot, and Denver now on offense, 2:10 to play, a 5-point lead. Grit passes it over right wing. Here's Johnson. Johnson driving in, passes it out. Back over to Romanowski. Up top, shot goes up from 3. Grace White missed everything, not even close. Air ball straight out of bounds. Aggie ball. Utah State really needs some points on this possession. You got to take smart, high percentage shots. Aggie's shooting just 20 of 62 from the field, 32%. So they haven't been shooting particularly well. They're just doing everything else well.
Olivia West brings it across. Under 2 minutes to go. Gets the screen from Duffesey. Passes it over to Brewster. Brewster over to Price. Price left wing. Price going to drive in. Has a player defending her tight, and she is fouled, so she'll get a couple of shots. Good move there by Victoria Price. Smart play, and that foul goes against Claire Gritt. It's just the first team foul for Denver here with 1:42 to play in this quarter. So Denver doing a really nice job staying out of foul trouble right now. Price has 11 points, looking to add a couple more to that. Can't hit the first, and that's big. You really need to hit these in this situation. She's only shot 4 free throws this season up to that point. Before this game, I suppose, so 7 total this season. Only made 3 of those. Second shot goes, and that's now a 4-point game, 61-57. Denver inbounds and a quick foul called on Victoria Price in the backcourt. Got a little too aggressive on defense. Third team foul for Utah State. It's the third for Utah State, or for Price. Sorry, fourth for Utah State, third for Price. So Denver inbounds, 1:35 to play. Grace gets it. Grace passes over to Johnson. Johnson over to Grace White. Near the corner, almost fumbled her way out of bounds. Passes it back to Johnson, holds on to it. 15 on the shot clock. Aggies need to stop. Johnson works off a screen. She's going to get up. Easy lay-in, but won't fall. She got the shot she wanted, and it just didn't go. Duffesey with her 12th rebound. Utah State coming back. Really needs some points here. Trailing 4, 1:10 to play. Price passes it over, finds Olivia West. Olivia West gets the screen from Duffesey. She's going to work into the lane. Try and pass it out, and it's almost stolen away by Denver, but they tipped it out of bounds. Gritt had the fast hands, but couldn't quite keep it in. So Utah State going to inbound. 1 minute exactly on the clock. 14 seconds on the shot clock. Trailing by 4. Olivia West to inbound from the baseline. Utah State really needs this game. Foul called off the ball on the inbound on Grace White. Got a little bit of a push off on Brewster, and so that's going to be for Grace White, her first. Aggies still have the inbound. They get it into Gear. Gear on the baseline, working her way back, passes it up top for Brewster. Brewster over to Olivia West. West goes up top. Time winding down. Goes over to Price, left wing. Wing gets she gets the screen from Brewster. She's going to drive in, blocked on the way in. Huge block by Claire Gritt to keep her out and stay out of the foul trouble. Denver bringing it back, and foul on Jessie Gear as she fouls Grace White intentionally. Utah State trailing by 4, 37.7 on the clock, and Grace White with a couple of shots to come. Grace White, again, not a very good free throw shooter. She was 2 of 5 coming into tonight's game. She's 1 of 2 tonight. Make that 2 of 3 as she hits the first. 5-point Denver lead, 37 to go. Bassett going to check in, Price going to check out. One more shot coming for the freshman forward, Grace White. She's only averaging 3.5 per game, but she's got 6 tonight. Pretty good night for her. Second shot, no good. Rebound by Brewster, and she's fouled. Foul called on Denver's Jasmine Jeffcoat. Still just the third team foul for Denver, though, so still a little ways from the bonus. They've done a good job keeping out of foul trouble. Aggies to inbound now from the backcourt. Deja Mason checks in for Jessie Gear. So Aggies with 2 bigs in, and Mason and Bassett. On the court, Mason, Bassett, Brewster, Olivia West, and Duffesey for Utah State. Timeout called, and they're going to head to the huddle. We'll keep it here. 35.3 on the clock. Utah State trailing 62-57. So it's going to take a lot for Utah State. They need some quick points here and then a big defensive stop. Likely go to the foul. Aggies played really well through this entire game, but they've been outscored this fourth quarter 13-7. And that's really been the difference, just kind of a sluggish way to finish things off. And if you drop this game for Utah State, that would just be an absolute heartbreaker. A game that you feel like you should have won, a game that you were there all along, and then just kind of fall off at the end. Part of that is due to a lack of depth, I think, for Utah State. You've got a lot of players out there playing a lot of minutes. I mean, Duffy's played 34, West with 33, Price with 33. That's a lot of minutes for those 3 players. And you're just not getting much production from your bench. Looking at bench points, Utah State's been outscored 24-12 in that category. So Aggie inbound. Duff passes it in to Olivia West. She shoots a 3, gets it to go. Olivia West brings Utah State within 2, 30 seconds to go. Utah State will need to foul, though, because the shot and game clock are almost exactly the same. Denver doing a good job avoiding the foul, but Olivia West finally gets a hold of Claire Gritt near the corner, so Gritt going to go for a couple. Olivia West, what a shot, has 17 points. She's 4 of 6 from the three-point line, and none bigger than that one to bring Utah State within 2. Aggies all of a sudden have a chance, and Serby helped if Claire Gritt missed a free throw or 2 here. She's a 64% shooter and misses the first. Claire Gritt 0 of 1 from the free throw line, only 2 points tonight. Has 1 more to come. She makes that one. So Utah State trailing by 3, 22.9 on the clock. Timeout call. Team's going to head into the huddle. Utah State certainly looking to draw up a plan as they're going to have the ball coming out of this timeout. If you're Utah State, should be interesting to see if they try and drive and get the easy lane, or if they shoot the 3 right away. Regardless, they absolutely have to come away with points on this possession. Olivia West has 17 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist for Utah State. Great night for her, stepping up big. Duffy has 11 points, 12 rebounds. Price with 12 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. I think that Victoria Price has to be your player of the game for Utah State, making her first start of the season and doing an excellent job for Utah State. On the other side, Johnson for Denver has 17 points. And Johnson, she's averaging just 8.6 per game, so she's come up big in this one. Other than that, she's the only player in double figures. Alt has 8 and 5 boards for Denver. Romanowski with 5 and 7 rebounds, as well as 5 assists. So Coach Finkbeiner talking things over with the squad, as is Coach Turgeon for Denver. Utah State, if they could find a way to escape this one, would be absolutely enormous for Utah State's season. Denver 6-5, looking to add another win to that total. Really good team, and Utah State's hung toe-to-toe so far. Aggies with another tough game following this against University of Utah. So inbound coming. Aggies inbound, find Olivia West. Olivia West, left wing, gets the screen. She's going to shoot a 3. It's blocked, though, by Denver and goes out of bounds. Denver couldn't hold on. That was crazy. Denver got it. Claire Gritt grabbed the rebound on the blocked shot and then didn't pass it back in, just fell out of bounds. Easily could have, though. So Utah State going to get the ball back from the baseline, 14.4 on the game clock, trailing by 3. So we saw Utah State elect to go to a quick 3. Wasn't a terrible look. Denver just came flying in, and it was a big block by Nilsson. Madison Nilsson coming in big. And, you know, when you got a player like Olivia West who's really feeling it and gets a seemingly somewhat open 3, had a pretty good shot of going down. So team's back in the huddle. Going to be a huge play. We'll see what Coach Finkbeiner draws up for his squad. I imagine they'll probably go to another 3-point play with just 14.4 on the clock. I'm not really sure how Denver fell apart there. They got the block, and then a player grabbed it right under the hoop. Could have saved it, passed it back in bounds, and instead just fell out of bounds with it. And going to give Utah State another opportunity. I'm sure Coach Turgeon just pulling his hair out after that. Denver has been a good team on the road this year, 3-1 in road games, and they've had some tough ones too. They did lose their last one against American University. That was out in D.C., so that was their first road loss of the season. So team's coming back out on the court. 14.4 is what we've got on the clock. 63-60. Aggie ball coming inbound from the baseline. Olivia West to inbound. She gets it into Harris. Harris right wing. Harris working up against Alt. Harris passes over to Olivia West. Olivia West, 8 seconds to go. Olivia screen set. Passes over to Duffy. Duffy going to have a 3, top of the arc. Duffy's 3 goes in, ties it up, 2.8 to go. 63 apiece. And what a shot from Shannon Duffusy. Shannon Duffusy ties things up. She has been phenomenal tonight. 14 points, 12 rebounds for the sophomore, and none bigger than that one. She was 4 of 23 from the three-point line coming into this game, and 2 of 3 so far. That play was very clearly drawn up for Olivia West to get the three, and when Denver collapsed on her, they passed it over to Duffusy. They just kind of let her have it, figuring that that's one of your lower percentage three-point shooters, but what a shot from the Australian sophomore. Utah State hoping to send this into overtime. We've got 2.8 on the game clock, and we're tied up 63 apiece. Denver will inbound, though, coming out of this timeout. We'll see what Coach Turgeon can draw for his team. What a big play for Utah State. That could be one that you look back at for a long time this season, as this game is just so important for the Aggies. Aggies 2-7 on the season, looking to get their third of the year and get a big home court win before they face off against a good Utah team. So Denver gonna inbound from their own front court, left hash. The inbounder gonna be Brianna Johnson. Deja Mason working up, arms up in the air, 2.8 to go. Johnson looking to inbound, she gets it up way up high. Madison Nelson passes up back to Johnson. She shoots it up a wild three, won't go, we're going to overtime. Utah State, good defense on the inbound play. And Utah State and Denver heading to an overtime period. What a game it has been. Whichever team you're cheering for, it's been a blast. 17 lead changes. Utah State led for 14 minutes, Denver for about 17, just back and forth throughout. I'm glad it's not ending. Got a few more minutes here going into overtime at 63 apiece. We're going to cut out really quick and come back with the overtime period here on Aggie Radio. Welcome back. Overtime upcoming here at the Dee Glen Smith Spectrum. Utah State and Denver tied up at 63 apiece after 4. It's been such a good game that neither team wanted it to end, so we're going to go to 5 extra minutes here in overtime. Huge shot coming at the end of regulation by Utah State's Shannon Duffusy. Got a three-pointer from the top of the arc, heavily contested, knocked it down without any question, and Utah State was able to tie things up and send this thing to overtime. Thrilling finish. It's been such a good game. I'm looking forward to seeing how this thing winds up. Olivia West for Utah State with 17, Duffusy with 14 and 12 boards, Price with 12. Utah State doing all of this against a very good Denver team without Utah State's starting point guard, Eliza West, who is out with a rolled ankle. So overtime about to get underway. Deja Mason goes for the jump against Jordan Alt. Aggies come away with it off the tip. So Utah State has it. Price passes it over to Brewster. Brewster right wing, dumps it into Duffusy. Beautiful pass from Brewster into Duffusy. Got the easy lay-in. Aggies up by 2 at the beginning of overtime. Brewster picks up a beautiful assist there. Johnson has it for Denver. Passes it back to Grit, right wing. Goes over to Nilsson. Nilsson over to the left wing for Romanowski. Gets up to the baseline. Resets things, passes it back out to Johnson. Johnson guarded by Olivia West. 10 on the shot clock. Johnson gets the screen. She's going to get over to the right elbow. Easy shot. Up. Won't go. Aggies fighting for the board. And Brewster fights. Jump ball called between Duffusy and Alt. That's going to go in Denver's favor as Utah State won the opening tip-off. So Denver going to get it from the baseline. Good hustle play by Utah State, though. Romanowski to inbound from the baseline. Denver trailing by 2. She passes it in. Left corner for Grit. Grit goes up top for Nilsson. Fresh shot clock for Denver on the inbound. Johnson has it. She passes it in. Finds Nelson. Three goes up from the wing. Denver can't get it to go. Grit missed the shot, but Denver, huge rebound from Jordan Alt, who is fouled right after the offensive board. That's fouled. The foul is Olivia West. That's Olivia West's fourth. So a couple free throws coming up for Jordan Alt. Alt, a 50% free throw shooter. And nearly airballs the first, barely got any rim. Utah State up by 2. Alt with one more shot. Senior forward from North Oaks, Minnesota. She's got 8 points tonight, looking for a 9th. Alt's second shot, high arcing, won't go, so she goes 0 of 2 on that trip, and Victoria Price grabs the rebound. Foul trouble for Olivia West and Victoria Price, 4 apiece there, but on the flip side, Grit and Alt for Denver have 4 apiece as well, so 1 away from fouling out for all 4 of those players. No players have left yet. Price has it, top of the arc. Price goes back to Olivia West, right wing. She's going to poke her way in, stop, pass it back out. 6 on the clock. Brewster has it. She needs a shot. She shoots from the free throw line and gets it to go. 15-footer. Rachel Brewster puts Utah State up by 4, 67-63. 3:24 to play. Brianna Johnson, Utah State, a big defensive stand here. Let's see if they can get it. Johnson being guarded by Price. Johnson gets the screen. Big screen by White. Passes over, baseline jumper from Alt. Can't get it to go. Rebound grab by Victoria Price. Utah State has it, 4-point lead. 3 minutes to play and the ball. Price passes it over, finds Olivia West. Utah State playing a slow tempo right now. Gets over to Brewster. Brewster going to poke in, stop at the 3-point line and pass it back out to the right for Price. Price going to try it, passes over right corner for Brewster. 9 on the shot clock. Brewster up top for West. West driving in, passes over right corner. Price thought about the 3, pump fakes, steps over to the right, shoots. This one doesn't go. Rebound by Denver. And they're coming back the other way. Johnson with the board. Johnson has the top of the arc. Goes over to the right for Romanowski. Romanowski has the screen from White if she wants it. She uses it. Gets into the lane. Shoots. Wild shot. Won't go. Tipped away by Rachel Brewster. And out of bounds. Victoria Price didn't see that Brewster got it. Probably could have saved it. But that's going to be a little bit of a mental lapse for Utah State. And Denver will get it from the baseline. 67-63, 2:23 to play. Denver ball on the inbound. Romanowski to inbound. She gets it into Johnson. Johnson thought about the 3 from the left wing. Instead, pumps it, goes back down with it, holds onto the ball. She's guarded by Price. She shoots this time, though, and it goes. Big shot by Brianna Johnson to bring it back within 1. Timeout called. So it will be Utah State ball following, but now the 4-point lead cut to 1 on a huge shot from Brianna Johnson. Johnson, who now has 20 points for Denver. She has been huge tonight, the entire game, leading the way in points, and then 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 36 minutes played for the sophomore guard. We're going to keep it here as the teams head to the huddle. 2:12 to play. Thanks for tuning in to today's game on Aggie Radio, AggieRadio.com, and the Mountain West Network. I'm Jaden Johnson on the call. We're going to have every Utah State women's basketball game here on Aggie Radio this season and AggieRadio.com. You can catch them. You can stream them online or listen over the FM airwaves in Logan, Utah. But every game, home and away, we will have, including this coming Monday's game against in-state rival University of Utah. That game will tip off at 7 o'clock p.m. Aggie ball after the timeout and the made 3 from Brianna Johnson. Victoria Price at point guard right now, being guarded by Claire Grit. She passes over to Brewster. Brewster right wing. Pass on the screen. Tries to get it to Duffy. Duffy couldn't handle the pass and out of bounds off the baseline. Denver now could take the lead. 67-66 for Utah State. Denver being very resilient, though, and playing some good basketball here in overtime. Johnson has it. Johnson right wing. Tries to work her way in, then slows things down, passes over to White. White, free throw line over to Jeffcoat. Jeffcoat drives in. She's fouled by Mason on the way. So she will have a couple of shots. Deja Mason picks up another, just her second. And it's going to be 2 shots coming from Jasmine Jeffcoat. the freshman forward from Louisville, Colorado. She's 77% free throw shooter, but misses the first. That's big. Could tie it up with the second, though. Jeffcoat has 7 points tonight. She's now 1 of 2 from the line. Jesse Gear gonna check in for Victoria Price. 1:43 to go, 67-66. Utah State lead in overtime. Second shot from Jeffcoat. Up and in. So tie game, 67 apiece. Neither team can get any separation. It has been such a good game. Olivia West has it left wing. She gets the screen from Deja Mason, passes it over. Right wing. Duffy tries to dump it in, but it's stolen away. Fast hands by Denver. They're going to try and take it all the way back. Johnson gets the lay-in the other way. And Denver on a bit of a run here. Utah State needs to regroup. 1:20 to go, now trailing by 2. Utah State had a 4-point lead, and it's a 6-0 run for Denver. Olivia West going to drive in, gets to the baseline, and just falls to the ground. That's going to be a travel. That was kind of a bizarre play from Utah State. Not sure exactly what Olivia West was doing there. You got to at least try and pass it out or do something with the ball. Put it up and hope to get fouled. You can't just fall to the ground because that's going to be a travel every time. So Denver going to get it back with a 2-point lead, 69-67, 1:11 to play. Denver inbounds, gets it to Johnson. Johnson double teamed in the backcourt, passes across midcourt though to Romanowski. Denver going to reset things though after getting a little bit of a press. Johnson has it top of the arc. Johnson guarded by Gear. 15 on the shot clock. Passes over to the right for Weinman. Weinman right wing. Goes up top. 9 on the shot clock. Denver needs to hurry. Screen set. Weinman gets up to the free throw line, driving into the baseline. Can't get the lane to go. Aggies grab it. Olivia West with the rebound. Coming back in transition. They need points here. Pass it up to Gear. A little bit too far. Gear going to try and put it up. She gets it to go. Gear was covered heavily by Jasmine Jeffco. Absolutely suffocated on defense, but still got the lay-in. Denver ball, they've got it with about 4 seconds between shot and game clock. Tie game, 69 apiece. It's been a nice game. Shot goes up from 3. What a shot by Samantha Romanowski. Can't believe she shot with so much time left on the shot clock, but Denver goes up by 3. Aggies have it. Need another 3-point play here with 15 seconds to go. Olivia has it. She gets up a 3 from top of the arc. Olivia knocks it down. Utah State ties it up again, trailing by 3 twice in this game in the closing seconds. And Utah State ties it up, trying to send it to another overtime, but 9.4 seconds still left on the clock. What a shot from Olivia West. Olivia West with 20 points tonight, 5 of 8 from the 3-point line. And Utah State has been resilient. 9.4 seconds to go. Aggies would love to force another overtime if possible. 72-72. In the end of regulation, Shannon Duffy knocked down a 3 to send it to overtime with about 2 seconds left on the board. In the end of overtime, Olivia West did the exact same thing. The trick here, though, is you've still got 9.4 seconds left for a Denver offense that has been clicking here in overtime, playing very good basketball. So Denver going to inbound from their own front court. The inbound will be from Brianna Johnson. Johnson gets a lot of pressure from Price. Price jumping, playing tall. She barely gets it in. Finds Alt. Alt has it baseline, passes it out right. Finds Weinman. 3 seconds. Weinman has to shoot. She gets a wild shot. How did that go? I have no idea. Weinman with a crazy shot from just inside the 3-point line. 0.3 seconds is what's on the clock, and Denver goes up by 2. What a play by Denver. I have no idea how that went in. And Utah State just kind of caught the ultimate unlucky break. Played suffocating defense. Very good D from Utah State. Gave all the pressure possible. And still somehow Denver got a shot off. 74-72. 0.3 seconds is what's on the clock. I'm sure the officials are going to take a look at this and make sure they've got the right time left on the clock. That's the benefit of video replay. But there's no question the shot was off in time, and Utah State, if nothing else, can get a little bit more time. Looks like they're going to set it to 0.7 for now, which is a huge difference. I mean, that's at least time to get a shot off, and Utah State will get it from the front court. But I'm sure Coach Finkbeiner, if he has any play for a shot in less than a second, this is the time to use it. Denver's outscored Utah State 11-9 here in this overtime period. Aggies shooting 37% on the game, Denver 39%. Olivia West, after that enormous three to tie things up, has 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Shannon Duffy was 16 points, 12 rebounds. Victoria Price, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. So it will be Aggie ball from the front court. They're going to inbound it and have 0.7 seconds, 7/10 of a second to get a shot off. Down by 2, 74-72 Denver ball, or Denver lead. Aggie ball. It's going to be Duffy to inbound. Duffy finds Brewster. Brewster shoots a wild three and won't go, almost there. Brewster got a look from about 10 feet above the three-point line. Had an open look, hit the back of the rim, and just wouldn't fall. Brewster very emotional. Aggies very emotional. What a way to lose. Tough loss for Utah State after playing, in my estimation, some of the best basketball we've seen this entire season, apart from maybe the BYU game. Just heartbreaking for Utah State. Second game that they've lost on a buzzer beater, and that's just how it goes sometimes. We've got Coach Jerry Finkbeiner here joining us for an interview. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Sure.
Second time this season, it's just come down to a wild last-second shot. It's got to be a heartbreaker.
Yeah, it is, and we're going to have more of these until we get on the winning side. We just don't know how to really finish a game and win a game right now. So we're kind of hoping for our opponents to make a mistake, and they aren't. And so we put ourselves in position in overtime to ahead by 4 points and couldn't capitalize. I think I had 3 straight turnovers, at least 2. So it's a tough loss.
Coach, on the more positive side, what about? Tell me about those 3-point plays right at the end of regulation, at the end of overtime by Utah State.
It was a little bit sloppy, but that was the play. We called them timeout, so I was really happy the way we executed. Olivia, she needs to understand she can do the same thing that in the first half also. She's just not as focused with her 3 in the first half. And I think as a team, we get down on ourselves, we miss shots, and we got to get over that thing too. But credit Denver tonight. It's a home game that we let go, but it always takes 2 teams, one that's fighting to win and one that just came up short. We came up short.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks for joining me. Good game. We'll see you on Monday. Coach Finkbeiner, always great and gracious to join me for an interview after the game. Obviously, just a really tough way to lose. They lost on a half-court buzzer beater to UC Irvine, so it's not the first time they've seen it. But that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. So Utah State going to fall to University of Denver, 74-72. Huge efforts from several Aggies, though, stepping up in place of Eliza West. You have to imagine what this game could have been had Eliza West been in there to facilitate the offense for Utah State. I imagine a few less turnovers, a few more assists in that very likely would have been the difference. But that's how basketball goes, and if you're at Utah State, you've got to look at the positive side. Now you've got a very confident player that's playing very well right now in Victoria Price. Victoria Price, who had 12 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists in her first start of the season, 36 minutes. And, you've got some of these younger players, a little more experience. You're getting these out of the way in the preseason. It's still not conference play. If you're Utah State, you've played 2 of the best 3 games of your entire season here in recent history. You beat BYU. Obviously, the game against UVU is tough, and they lost pretty badly in that one to a team that has kind of struggled. But you almost come away with a huge win over a very good Denver team here in overtime. Team showed a lot of heart. Obviously, the turnovers are going to kill you, especially in overtime, especially when you get several in a row and you blow a 4-point lead in an overtime period. But there's a lot of positives to take away from this. Utah State does fall to 2-8 on the season. That's an eyesore to see on paper. It's tough to see that. To see that you're 2-8, no matter what conference you're in, no matter what team you are, it stinks to be 2-8. But there are a lot of positives as this team gets ready to go into Mountain West play. There's only one more out-of-conference game. It's going to be a brutal one. University of Utah, a very, very, very good Pac-12 team. Utah State has faced a couple of Pac-12 teams so far this season, and it hasn't turned out very well. But if you're Utah State, and you can, especially if you can get Eliza West back in that game, you got to feel like it's going to be, that you can at least be there in that game. For Denver, leading scorer is Brianna Johnson, who hit the game winner, was absolutely brilliant all night long. She shot 50% from the field, 4 of 6 from the three-point line. The sophomore guard from Carson, California, picked up 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and played 39 minutes for the Pioneers. They couldn't have asked for too much more out of her, and she certainly delivered. She's the only player in double digits even for Denver. Other than that, it's very, very evenly spread across the board. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players with more than 5 points. I guess 8, including Johnson, with more than 5 points. That's pretty remarkable. Denver really spread the ball around well. They picked up 13 assists. Utah State picked up 15 assists. That's the big killer. That's what you thought Utah State would lose by, is not passing the ball around enough coming into this, especially without Eliza. But instead, they pick up 15 assists on their 11 average on the season. Utah State even won the rebounding battle 51-41. It was just a little bit of inconsistent shooting, 36%, and obviously turnovers, 14 turnovers. They only had 4 in the first half, so 10 in the second half and overtime, and that's really what it came down to. You got to love what Coach Finkbeiner said, that this is a good team, and this is a team that's still really motivated. You heard from a pregame, and it didn't sound like a team that was 2-7, now 2-8. It sounded like a team that has a lot of motivation to continue to get better, and I certainly imagine that they will. So for Utah State, back at it Monday night against the University of Utah. I'll be here for that. It's here in the Spectrum. I'll be on the call. You can catch that here on Aggie Radio, AggieRadio.com, and Mountain West Network. That will tip off 7 p.m. Monday night, following which they've actually got a full 10 days off. Utah State, another thing you have to figure in is they played 6 road games in a row, really brutal stretch. Their first home game in a month here today, and they finally get some time to breathe. They had a whole week off before this one. They've got 10 days off before the next one, and then they'll be in San Jose, a team in the Mountain West that they feel like they should be able to start 1-0 in Mountain West play against. That's going to be the 28th of December, so players have Christmas off. A lot of them going to go home, take a little bit of time off. Denver, on that win, moves up to 7-5 on the season, 4-1 on the road, and that's going to do it for us here in Logan. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jaden Johnson. We'll be back at it Monday night here on Aggie Radio.